AI in cooking. We learned that Gemini, which is going to be a competitor to ChatGPT and will be introduced at a later point in 2024, and we're talking about the Ultra here, in which it was tested for cooking. We have an example here. If we look at cooking an omelette, and Google basically used text, images, and audio prompting to ask ChatGPT, which responded via text, its responses. So the scenario is how to cook an omelet, and it was presented with an image of what appears to be eggs, peppers, and broccoli. And the input that was prompted to Gemini via audio is, what's the first step to make a veggie omelet with these ingredients? Gemini took a look at this image, evaluated it, and responded via text, cracked the eggs into a bowl, and whisked them. So we're assuming a couple of steps here were missed because there must have been more interaction as to a step-by-step process to get to the point where we have put all the ingredients together, probably added oil to a pan, and started cooking an omelet. The next step that we jump to, because we don't know if there were other steps involved, but we'll go by this report by Google, the Google report, which is a 62-page report, and I am looking at 5.2.5 point modality combination, okay? And here the next step is to show Gemini a picture of an omelet cooking on a pan on a stove. And the audio input is, thank you for the instructions. And this is in plural, so I'm assuming there were several instructions given by Gemini to the Google employee/tester. And the input, the audio was, thank you for your instructions, period. I started making my omelet, comma, does it look ready now? So it is asking Gemini to evaluate now this image. And after Gemini has evaluated the image, the response via text is, it looks like it's almost ready. You can flip it over to cook the other side. Now, rather than input further images to Gemini, the Google immediately asks Gemini, why is it not ready? Again, it's very important. There was no follow-up image to the previous question. So, Gemini now is forced to evaluate the previous image. I am assuming here things because it does not tell me what happened, and we don't know what Gemini is doing, but we have to assume that Gemini is forced to evaluate and now explain how it arrived at the decision. And by the decision mean when it responded, it looks like it's almost ready, you can flip it over to cook the other side. So now we are forcing Gemini to explain how it arrived at that conclusion. And Gemini's response is, it's not ready because the eggs are still running. And when you look at the image or the previous image, that appears to be the case. Now, there must have been a few more steps. The eggs were flipped, and now the image, I'm assuming, was presented or inputted into Gemini, and addition audio now was inputted saying, what about now? So now The question is being asked via audio to Gemini of this new image that now appears to have the egg been flipped, and what we're seeing is a flipped egg on a pan cooking on a stove. And after evaluating this, Gemini's answer is, it looks ready now. You can take it off the heat and serve it. That's the text response by Gemini. So the conclusion is by Google, and this is table 13. You can look it up yourself. Audio-visual qualitative example showcasing the ability of Gemini models to process interleaved sequences of text, vision, and audio. Now, in this case, based on what I'm reading here, it was fed image and audio, and Gemini responded through text. So maybe that's what they're referring to here when they're saying that interleaved sequences of text, vision, and audio, as well as reason across modalities. Now, what they're concluding is that this example inputs the interleaved images and audio from the user, which is the Google person that's testing Gemini, in a cooking scenario. The user, again, is the Google person, prompts the model for instructions to make an omelette and to inspect via images in this case by asking it to inspect through audio whether it's fully cooked. And we have to conclude that it has passed the test. Now you can see where this eventually will lead with time, where it will get more sophisticated. Perhaps we'll have video instead of image, where the Gemini has the ability to record video and technically, quote unquote, see what's happening, and eventually be able to also respond via audio so that it is happening in real time as you are asking for Gemini to aim their camera at what you're cooking, at what you're doing, and tell you whether the food is ready or not. As you can see how this can be helpful in a teaching environment. It can be helpful in many other areas that right now perhaps we're not thinking of. Anyway, thank you for listening.